Welcome back to the Danette May Show. We are in the three-part series of manifesting wealth, manifesting money, and this is part three, where I'm going to be sharing exactly practical things you can do in this new age because times have changed to start acquiring more financial abundance. So let's dive right in. Welcome to the Danette May Show, where you'll receive profound breakthroughs, courage to break old patterns, and live into your soul's purpose. Each week, I will bring you epic guests and live coaching to remind you of your power. You have the ability to achieve extraordinary things, and the time to start is now. I am loving spending this time with you guys. This has been a three-part series. So if you haven't listened to part one and part two, you need to go back. They're literally the last two episodes in this podcast series. Go back and listen to those first. They're quickies. They're like 20 minutes. You're going to get a lot of value. You got to understand the lead up, why you even want to listen to me about this, and how to really shift your mental zip code, shift your beliefs. So very practical stuff about how you do that, because you can't really start acquiring more wealth unless you really get down to the nitty gritty of what your belief system is around wealth. A lot of times we think, oh, we just want to make money. That's the end. No, it's not. Our belief systems play a huge role in whether we will make money and, most importantly, keep it, and the way we make money. I'm not talking about, just so we're all clear, I'm not talking about just making money. I'm talking about making money in a way that allows you to still be in joy, that doesn't come in your life and destroy your relationships or destroy your health, where you're just, because anyone can go and work their brains out and work really hard and remove all the loved people in their lives because they have no time that they're spending with them, and they get really sick because they neglect their health. I am not talking about that kind of wealth. I am only interested in talking about how you accumulate money. And I'm talking a lot of wealth. I talk about my 8-figure businesses in a way that is grounded, in a way that's driven by purpose, that is in a way that takes care of your mental health, the people that are important, because I don't believe any amount of money is worth losing your health, losing your peace of mind, your spiritual connection, and those you love around in your life. There's no way to even discuss this. So that is the only way I'm discussing this. And I shared in part one and part two how you really start to shift your mental zip code. And in this series, this part three, I'm going to be really talking about some practical advice, some things that I would embark on if I were you, if you're looking for practical ways to make more money. So I think we can all agree that we are in a new era, that marketing is different, that the way businesses are operating is different. We could even go as far as say the economy is different. But I want to be very real with you that it does not matter what is going on in the economy. You can still produce wealth. And actually, some of the richest people, if you really study history, the richest people are born out of economic decline. Be one of those people. Just decide you're going to be one of those people. There are people that really understood the value of proper investing. They understood the energetics of money, and they were patient. They didn't get stirred up in the hubbub of talking about economic decline. They used it as an opportunity. So make a decision right now that you are going to be that type of person. I never have. Even when I didn't have money, I didn't have money in 2008 when there was an economic decline. And I wasn't even aware of the economic decline, probably because I didn't really have a lot of money. I was like, what's the big problem? This is just my reality. No, but I just honestly, even now, people might be like, oh, are you worried about your businesses? Are you worried about your financial stability with the economic downturn? No, I'm not. I know how to pivot. I understand that life goes in waves, it's cyclical. And as long as I don't feed into fear, I'm going to be okay. And as long as I'm strategic, do I go out and spend all my money carelessly? No. I am very smart about how people are thinking right now, but I also manage my thinking. You get to manage your thinking. The energy you have around this, if you have fear and concern, you're just going to get more to be fearful about and concerned about. So remember the energy you're holding. If you're afraid you're going to lose it, if you're afraid you're not going to get it, if you're afraid that no one's going to buy your wears and tears, if you think that the bank's going to take all these different fear tactics that are happening in the news and around and people's discussions, you will attract that. You will start to see that in your life. So choose to be around people that are talking about the potential right now, talking about the positivity of what could happen if you handle your money. That's why I want to have this discussion, because most likely you're hanging out with people that are talking negatively about it, and it's just not necessary right now. It doesn't serve anything. Could you talk about, hey, let's invest here or let's reduce our spending here? That's different kind of frequency than being like, oh no. First off, here's some practicalities. I never spend more than I have. I have never used credit cards. I've only used credit cards to build up my credit, but I've never used credit cards because I couldn't afford something, but I wanted it. If I couldn't afford it, I didn't buy it. And I've always stood by that. Even though we have these businesses, we don't go and buy these fancy cars because it's not necessary. We really believe in using that money to accumulate more wealth. So I've done a lot of investing. I don't have an expensive closet. If you come in my closet, I have no designer shoes. And I say this because it's not important to me. I'm not saying to shame anyone who does. I'm saying because what's important to me is land in really powerful investments and using my wealth to further my soul contracts of my soul purpose of my businesses, as well as to contribute to the planet, to Mother Earth, to Indigenous tribes around the globe, to nonprofits. So that is how I spend my money. And I spend my money on experiences. So, really getting clear with yourself, why do you want money? It's not for the sake of money, it's usually what money can buy you. So, getting really clear on what am I wanting that I think money will give me? Is it freedom? Is it safety? Is it experiences? Is it to feel important? Really, what is that? And then looking at that list, being really honest, no shame, no blame, but being really honest and saying, is there anything I can do to fulfill that need? Safety, freedom, importance, feeling popular, feeling significant, that has nothing to do with money. Can I take care of those desires in other ways? Can I start doing fun adventures that really don't cost a lot of money, like camping, for example, or a big hike or something? Can I start to feel freedom in my expression, freedom in my sexuality, freedom in my relationships that has nothing to do with money? Can I start to feel safety in myself, in my home, in my body? Can I start to do meditation practices that are around safety? These things are really important because as you start to fill yourself up with these feelings that you think money's going to give you, but you do it outside of money, then that energy thread starts to dissipate and you get a healthier relationship with money. Therefore, you will start to accumulate more money because money is not evil. Money is there and it will continue to come into your life as you continue to feed the thread of what you think money is going to give you in actual grounding, practical ways that have nothing to do with money. But then sometimes we go, money will help me with philanthropic endeavors. It will help me build my business. It will help me pay for this that I want to do because my soul expression's asking me to do it. I'm in that right now. I'm creating something that requires quite a bit of overhead. Therefore, I want to accumulate enough wealth to build or to create that experience to bring people into that experience. It's just the reality of it. So I don't think money's bad. And I do think there's ways to make it. So one, that was number one. Number two is really looking at how life has shifted. I really don't think you can get into a business anymore that isn't backed by a spiritual why, or at least is honoring Mother Earth, because I think people are waking up to that. I think consumers really want a deeper product. They don't want something that's destroying the earth. I think the consumer obviously wants a product that's going to enhance their lives, but not at the expense of decreasing the consciousness of the planet. So I really think you have to start thinking like that. And your packaging and your product is really, is this good for Mother Earth as much as it's good for the people inhabiting Mother Earth? All of it's a symbiotic relationship. So you should be thinking like that. I think that's going to be required. You're going to start to see, in my opinion, a lot of uptick of health products, longevity products that are conscious. You're going to start to see a lot more health modalities, things that are not like pills that you have to take from doctors or even doctor visits. There's going to be energetic healings. There's going to be different forms of healing. And I think there's going to be a huge uptick in that. And the ability to connect with telekinesis, All of this is you're going to discover an uptick. So you might as well look and see if there's anything within your soul that wants to be created that has to do with this uptick, because the wave is already going there, and step into it. If you're into wellness, like really start to open your eyes to different wellness opportunities. If you're into helping humanity, helping Mother Earth, really stepping into what are those ideas and keeping your eyes open, because if you're asking for it and you're looking for it, or just more asking or intending it, you're going to see it, but you got to open your eyes to it. Okay. So that's another thing. I do feel that you can start these little side hustles, whether it is a craft on Etsy or asking someone on Upwork to support you with creating the funnel or the back end, and then especially using AI. I know some of us are scared of AI. We're wondering if it's actually a positive thing. Regardless, it's happening. So you might as well get on the AI train because it's happening. And one thing you can do, there's a lot of people that teach the basics of AI. Amanda Crawford, I'm going to name drop you. She has a really inexpensive program. I have my whole team going through it. You can write a book using AI. It is your voice that you're just saying it, and AI writes it better than probably you could write it. Or they can help write sales copy for selling your product, or your bio, really selling you if you are your product. So using AI to really help support what we used to spend a lot of money paying for copywriters, paying for content draft creators, like creating graphics. Now AI can do it at a fraction of the cost and probably infinitely better material. You now have access to AI. This is going to be easier than ever to create products, to create sales copy, the back end funnel to your product than ever before. So utilize this resource and understand it and learn about it. So I do think that is going to be very helpful for you. We obviously have social. I'm not a big fan of building your business on social, but what you could do is use social to give something away for free and capture someone's email. When you capture someone's email, then they're in your ecosystem, and then start to build up that email list, meaning that you're going to start to service those on your email list. You want to send out an email at least 3 times a week at the minimum, giving them only content. Don't ask them to buy anything, just serve them. Give them a recipe, give them something that has to do with what your niche is, what your business is. So people want more of what you're already going to provide. You can never give them too much, too many recipes. Let's say you have a cookbook you're selling. Give them a bunch of free recipes like every time, and it's not going to take away from the cookbook. Give them more of what they already want, but I always recommend on social using it as a lead magnet, whatever you put on social, to capture someone's email so that then you have them in your ecosystem. And email is not dead. Email is not dead. And it's so easy to use Instagram and Facebook and put a link in there to drive them to a page where they put in their email and get something free. But you want that free thing to be around what you're offering. So, like I said, if it's a cookbook, give them recipes. Trust me on that one. I do feel like that's going to be really important. I told you about the trend of health products, conscious products, earth based products. I think that's all going to be an uptick. Sovereignty products. So, how can I live off the land's sovereignty? How can I make medicinal herbs or medicines and not need to go into the city? I think all of this is going to be on the rise right now. I think spirituality is on the rise right now, but do it in an authentic place. Trust me, do it in an authentic place. We need a lot of authentic, in spirit leaders, in spirit inspired leaders more than ever. So there is a place for you. And just remember that if you see someone else doing what you're doing, don't think that there isn't room for you. Think about all the books that you read that are around the same kind of concept. It's not because one author wrote one book about romance that you don't buy another romance book. You're going to buy a million romance books. The same goes with business. If you see someone doing what you're doing, you can still step into it. There can be plenty of room for everyone to share similar business ideas. Don't think that just because someone else is doing it, that there's no room for you. Go. That's your cue. I call it spiritual driftwood. When you see someone doing what you've been dreaming and thinking about in your heart, it's a sign to go. It's not a sign for you to be like, oh, someone else is doing it, I'm going to pull out. It means go. It means flow with the river. This is your sign. Go for it. And trust me, I'm seeing a lot more people, because what you focus on expands. So let's say you've never heard of this particular car. It's like a yellow Beetle car from 1980s. And all of a sudden your mind's focused on these 1980s yellow Beetle bugs cars. You're going to start seeing a lot of them because your focus is on that. So when you think about a business idea and something that you want to create, you're going to start seeing a lot more people doing it, a lot more people actually stepping into it. And you might start to get scared and think, oh no, there's too many people doing it. No, this is spiritual driftwood. This is you focusing on it and it's expanding in your life. You're seeing examples of it. You're seeing that other people are doing it and then they're thriving from it. So use what other people are doing instead of jealousy, instead of, oh, imposter syndrome. Look at it as this is my sign and get inspired by it. Instead of jealousy, be inspired by it and root that person on and be excited because they're showing you and paving you a path for you to step into it. Also, investments. I want to talk a little bit about investments. There are a lot of different theories and thoughts on investments. So, if you have a little bit of money to invest, I say do it only if you have extra money. I always save 10% of my earnings, no matter what I have since I was broke as a joke. I've always learned that as a child to pay myself 10%. So, I always pay myself 10%. I give 10% to charity, and then the rest, the 80%, goes to my basic living needs, right? If I have extra after that, it goes to savings again. And then I start to invest. And investing makes it so that you're going to start making money for a rainy day. So you might want to make investments on long term investments, things that you don't want to pull out of, and maybe some that are shorter that you could pull out and make a little bit on. So I've always believed in investing in land. I think that's always a good idea, but it's a longer term play. Some forms of Bitcoin, gold, good one. I actually think gold has never lost. It has ups and downs of value, but it's always been a currency since the dawn of time that actually keeps being a currency. I think there's always value in gold and precious metals. I invested in trailer parks and different apartments and storage units. So things that people are always going to use or be in is not a bad idea to invest in. Obviously, land is always a really good one. So these are some ideas of some investments. But once again, don't invest unless you actually have the extra cash. You should have a little bit saved, like a runway. I always say like a 3-month runway of extra money in case it's rainy day money. So you can have that peace of mind. Because remember, money is a frequency. So if you are holding on to the frequency of fear, I don't have enough. What if something turns? What if I lose? I don't have enough to pay rent next month. That energy just gets amplified in your body. So having a 3-month runway, you're like, I'm good. I'm good for 3 months. It just creates a calmness in your nervous system. And that is the goal, to create a calmness in your nervous system. So remember that in all of your purchases, try to avoid purchases to try to feel cool. Oh, this is the popular thing. This is the thing that's going to make me look good or make me feel cool. Really start to address those emotions. Start to address where you're feeling a sense of lack within yourself and your self worth, and that you're covering it with purchases. That is really important because the truth is, we have so much excess and we can't buy ourselves into stability. We can't buy clothes to feel significant. You're going to get a small dopamine hit once you buy something or wear something, but it doesn't last. You want lasting groundedness in who you are, and that's going to be the greatest work you ever do. And your relationship with money will shift, and you can still accumulate great wealth without desiring to look cool or to appear cool or get that dopamine hit. One thing I do want to talk about, because I'm talking a lot about an entrepreneurial perspective. And I am, because I am an entrepreneur. That's the way my brain works. It always has worked that way. I've always wanted to work for myself. Even when I was a little girl, I would mow people's lawns and weed their gardens as a job versus going in and getting a job at Arby's or an ice cream shop. I just tended to want to either do a babysitting job, a dog service job, or landscaping on my own terms. So my brain works that way, but that doesn't mean everybody's brain that works that way and that everybody should create their own business. I actually don't think that is the path for everyone. Obviously, we all have our own individual assignments, and we can be very wealthy and have enough abundance in our life when we contribute to someone else's dream or vision or business. So, what I like to say around this in particular is that you're not working for someone, you are working with someone. And to change up the languaging around it, I look at my team in particular as someone who's working with me on a dream, on a goal. on an outcome. They're not working for me. They're working with me. They're working a part of a whole vision. And I believe that society is moving more in that trajectory. We've already started to see it with the younger generation that they are seeking jobs and places to work in that really feed their soul. And that is one thing I do want to say, that there is a direct correlation with a job that can feed your soul and bring you money and bring you the money to pay for your bills and the trips and be able to have the life that you desire. I think the days of just grinding in a cubicle and working for what you would say someone and their dream, but it's not your dream, and you're stressing out and you're overworked and you really don't buy into the vision, it doesn't really feed your soul. And so it's soul sucking. Those days are gone. I really say that if you can think about this and you're like, hey, I don't want to be my own entrepreneur. I don't even want another side hustle. I just want to work in a dream and a vision that actually feeds my soul. I think that is very noble and can create great abundance. So, what I would say is, one, first off, find and be in a position and in a dream team that actually feeds the vision of your soul, that isn't so soul sucking. You feel respected. Yes, you're going to get stressed. Yes, you're going to work hard. Yes, there's going to be busy days and pivots and stress points, but all of that's doable. You're going to have that as an entrepreneur too. You're going to have that no matter what walk you walk, but you're at least doing it from a place of, I believe in this. You know what? I can handle these crazy days because I know the output of my work is going to benefit someone else. And I feel it is soul edifying. So that's number one. Number two, always make sure you are the best worker. Treat this job as if it is your own, that this is your own business. And if you do that and you take on that ownership, that owner is going to notice this ownership and you're going to get promoted. You're going to get raises. You're going to get equity in the company. Trust me, if you do these things as a business owner, we're always looking at our employees. And they're not my employees. What I say, they're dream builders with me, but I watch the ones that excel, that continue to learn, that continue to raise their voice to different ideas, different concepts, that are loyal, that don't just do the work and then go home and go to bed or live their life, but they really take it on like an ownership position and take empowerment. They climb within the business, they bend and sway, take on new positions, higher pay, percentages in the company. And so, if that's what you would want to do, and you don't have to take on the headache of owning the business, the headache of the overhead, all of the stressors that come with the big mission of owning the machine, then you can actually generate more wealth, more freedom, like this full soul edifying experience by just working hard and innovative and taking ownership in your role in the company. I hope all of this has been really helpful. I'm curious what your takeaway is, because now I shared practical advice with you in a quickie episode, like a girlfriend sitting here having coffee. And I also shared in part two and part one really about the energetics, the belief systems. Where did you pick up these beliefs around money and how to shift those so that you're really stepping into changing those storylines, those belief systems, that frequency line, so that you become a magnet to more wealth. This is a really potent discussion and one that I really pray I've helped you a little bit on. I wanted to give you some practical tips, not too much, just a little to start implementing right away. And let me know. I want to hear if you felt like this series was helpful. Share it out on social. Tag me at the Danette May, whether you're sharing on Facebook or Instagram. I love hearing from you. I love it when you share. I love it when you leave comments about it. So thank you so much. And yeah, I want to get into really a lot of energetics of manifesting in April and really talking about friendships and this currency and the sovereignty, this sexual sovereignty, this money sovereignty, this relationship sovereignty, your voice sovereignty of your life. So I'm wrapping you up in so much love, and I'll be totally surveying you guys, dropping really cool episodes, a lot of interviews with some really epic people. I want this to be the place you want to go to and listen to when you're on your walks, driving your car, or cleaning your house, because you get uplifted, inspired, and you feel like part of this family. Thank you so much for being a part of the Danette May Show, and I'll see you on the next episode.